Hey there, this is a bonus episode of the Podcast for Creatives. I'm Sasha Souza. First, I want to thank you for listening to my little podcast. I am so excited to be able to share through this medium. And I have been thinking long and hard about what I want to produce for content on this podcast. And one of the things that has always struck me is that I wanted to be able to give you things that are also maybe a little boost or maybe a little coaching or maybe just a good laugh. And so I've decided to do that through bonus content. And every week, these are going to be very short, 5 to 15 minutes. I'm going to bring you a new anecdote or a new quote, and we're going to kind of break that down so that you have maybe some tools that you can use as you navigate your week to make some good decisions for you and for your business. All right, let's go. So today I'm going to start with a quote that came up in my Facebook memories. And I think Facebook memories are awesome. I mean, I go back through them. It's one of my morning rituals. I love looking at the things that we have already done and sort of re-experiencing those. And this morning, there was an actual post from one of my very favorite authors in the whole wide world. And if you don't know her, her name is Jen Sincero, and she writes the You Are a Badass series of books. And anyway, you're a badass at making money. Now she has a brand new one about badass habits, and I am just like all in on Jen Sincero. I think she is amazing. I love how she teaches. I love how she coaches. I love how she thinks. So you'll always, at least my one-on-one mentoring clients know this, I will always reference her because I think that she's very, very smart. So I just can't get enough. But that's enough fangirling, I think, over Jen Sincero to tell you that you're a badass at making money is one of the reasons that I'm sitting here doing this podcast today, because I had started a group mentoring program in 2011 called Team I Do. And once I decided I didn't want to do that anymore, I sort of let it lie. And then in 2016, I was listening to You're a Badass Making Money. And she was telling a story that resonated with me at the time. And it basically started my selling of knowledge online and starting my mentoring program and starting the forms and downloads. And that has now led into the Creative Collective membership. And so we have all of these great things, partially because of reading the book, You're a Badass at Making Money. But this quote, which really is, I think, one of my very favorites in probably the history of ever, and I posted this 2 years ago, says, quote, "The walls of your comfort zone are lovingly decorated with the lifelong collection of your favorite excuses." Oh my gosh, you guys, let me read that to you again. "The walls of your comfort zone are lovingly decorated with a lifelong collection of your favorite excuses." Holy shnikes, that just literally hits me, even now when I read it over and over and over, like a ton of bricks, because it is so incredibly true. And I just, every time I think about that, I start to think about what my limiting beliefs are, the things that say, oh, I can't or I won't. And what is the worst thing that's going to happen? So I start a podcast, right? What's my excuse? Nobody's going to want to listen to it, or I don't have anything to say. Or, there's a million things I could say to myself about why I shouldn't have started a podcast. But I can actually say that keeps me in my comfort zone of not having to push myself and not having to grow. And you can't grow if you don't allow yourself to do scary shit once in a while. And putting myself out there on a podcast, for me, is one of those things. So it's all about being brave and not being an excuse maker and not sitting here and thinking, I couldn't possibly start that, or I couldn't possibly get that client type that I've always wanted, or I can't possibly work with that vendor because that vendor is so far above me. you have to just bust those walls down and leave the excuses. And anytime you find yourself kind of making that excuse as to why you aren't worthy or why you can't do it, you just have to like slap yourself on the wrist and say, I am not, that is a no. Do not think like that. So I would like to encourage you to, at least for this week, to take that quote and write it down. Write it down, make it your background on your phone, put it sticky on your computer, put it on your mirror in your restroom, wherever you just need to be reminded that you can knock all of those walls down yourself. And the fewer excuses that you make, the better off you're going to be. And the more you're going to be able to stretch your wings and do all of these amazing things that you never, ever thought were possible. All right? Listen, go out there and make it an awesome week.